Hi everyone, this is Richard. Okay, so in this video, let's go over what we learned. What the basic overall view is, we have to look at coding a little bit differently, right? So we are not the people doing the coding as much anymore, but we are rather the person who's just designing the whatever we're trying to make. So that's a big, huge change. Before, we would have to understand how this goes here and how this works there and how it all goes together, but the AI does a lot of it for you. Having said that, what's really good as an opportunity is in my previous videos, I would always go step by step, line by line. And where it hit something, I would say where it went and come back to it. Because that was the biggest difficulty I always had. When I learned to program, people would have huge lines of code and they would refer to one or two of the things, but I had no idea what the rest of it was, and it was super frustrating and difficult for me to learn. The nice thing about using AI is specifically you can ask it in this area where you just go ask, and you can use something free like Grok Code Fast. You could use something like that and just ask it questions and specifically say, could you go over this? Let me just take a look here. Just say, go over run all tests.sh and explain this to me like I'm 5 or something like that. And you could do it, and it'll go line by line, and you could say explain the first 25 lines, and then it'll go through them. If you have questions about it, you can ask about it. So it's one of those things that really does help you a lot with programming itself. And if you want to start learning from programming from the very beginning, that works as well. Just write some code, or you ask the AI to say, create a hello world. Okay, so that's really nice that way. By the way, I have this locating API key. I actually asked it, I don't remember which file I saved the API key in a different program. So I simply asked it, where is it located? That's really nice, instead of using the search function, right? Um, so what are the limits? So I'm making this video in January 2026. What are the limits of this type of programming? Well, we don't know yet. Okay, so it is possible, even with right now, it is advancing tremendously fast. But at this point in time, it is conceivable you could create an entire operating system. You could start from the very beginning and go all the way through. That is conceivable. Now, you probably can't do it in one go. You'd probably have to create the kernel, do this and do that. And you'd have to do that. And you'd have to know something because you don't really know how good it is. But to put it all together, you probably will be able to do that. I'm sure, I don't know, maybe somebody's already done something like that. It would be a lot of fun. I'm not sure if anybody would use it, depending on what it looks like, but it would be fun. What I tried to do is download some open source Redux file system. It's an open source operating system based on Rust. And I downloaded the file system and just played around with it and just asked the AI to expand on it, advance it, make it better. I don't think they're going to accept the code, of course, because I have no idea what it even does. But it was fun just if I knew, because I don't, if I knew what it did, it would be fun to go ahead and play with it, expand it. And you could do something like if you have an idea of how to implement something, you're not so worried about the code, just the proof of concept. AI can do it for you in minutes, whereas normally it may take weeks to actually write the code step by step. All right, so it's just the higher level is what we're dealing with. So just remember, prompts are always the key. What you type inside there is important. That's why I always had like a to-do.txt file so that I don't have to really go by the prompts. I don't have to remember what I wrote. It's already documented there. Um, I think we learned, at least I still haven't learned, tests and logging. I think logging is important. Tests probably are important. I still haven't figured that one out in the past few weeks. I don't know if I'm going to do it anytime soon. So, but we learned at least the AI can definitely create tests on your code. Um, and I think that's a way you might potentially find bugs. And now that I think about it, there was one time where I created a test and the test was breaking. I couldn't figure out why. The AI couldn't figure out why. I don't want to give myself too much credit, why the code was breaking. And I asked it and it reviewed everything and it did find a bug in the original program itself. So I don't think it was for this particular Flappy Bird, but it was for one of the other programs. So I think that's basically what we're learning right here. We made our Flappy Bird clone. This is just more at this stage, for me personally, it's more for fun because I'm not an engineer. I can't go really into these high-powered level code and figure it out. So I'm going to use this more as a proof of concept. And that's going to expand this a little bit further to go into other coding type of stuff, okay, in the future. All right, thanks a lot.